Hey guys, um, so I was promising to continue with the life cycle methods, but I just realized that if you remember last time I tried to do something with this should component update, and I've been thinking about that, and yeah, I made quite a huge mistake with the should component update. I mean, it works with our case, but so the problem is that when it's set to false, obviously it does its purpose. So whatever. I think I still need to reload it. Yeah, whatever I do, it won't let me do anything, which is like good. But the problem is that the reason why we still have the same thing on the DOM is because it was rendered, no, not rendered, I don't want to use the terms interchangeably, it was painted on the previous cycle. But the problem is that just imagine that it's really a conditional render, so conditional return here. So based on the next state, next props, this state, sometimes it will return true. Then we will need the fibers again. So now the problem is that in the reconciliation, the reconciled children will only get called when the should render is true. Now the problem with that is that later on there will be no alternate tree from this point below, because, and that's what I wanted to test, but I was just too lazy to do that. So the problem is that, yeah, if you shouldn't render, then don't call reconciled children, but instead call reconciled children, which doesn't do the overhead. So we will need the fibers, because that will be the alternate fiber later on when in some case it turns out that you should enable rendering again. So yeah, that was the problem, and it was working before, and the reason why I'm saying is it's really important. So it was working because the elements were placed onto the DOM in a previous cycle, and the return false was hard-coded. If it was like a conditional render, then there might have been a case where it would have thrown an error, or it would have created placements all along just because there was no alternate fiber. So it would have thought that because there was no alternate fiber from this point, like from below, from this point of the tree, then everything would have been treated as like placements. So what we need is not just abandon everything, but like a stupid version of reconciled children. So it's just gonna be like just copy children basically, and it will need only the fiber. So the copy children basically it should do the same thing as the reconcile children array, but with some serious limitations. So first of all, I think we won't have elements, because we're just simply copying everything over. We won't have this, we won't have this, we will not have the alternate, because we're just gonna copy all the alternate. I think we might need previous fiber, new fiber, and I think we need alternate, because we need alternate, sorry, alternate, yeah. New fiber, yeah. We won't have any children. This is hugely simplified, because we won't have any elements, so we can get rid of that, and that pretty much means that we don't need to care about the effect text, because it's just simply copying the fibers over. No modifications to the DOM will take place, like not here obviously because it's a render phase, but no indications will be set onto the fibers as an effect that later on we will need to modify these things. So we can just simply get rid of this effect tag, effect tag, effect tag, effect tag. Index, there is no index. Okay. Okay. Copy children fiber. So element, we don't need it. Element, don't need it. Element. Okay. And I think we can delete that one. Okay, good. Element is not defined. So, okay, what we need here. Okay, let me think about that. So, the easiest thing is when there is nothing else. So if if while alternate we might need to modify this a bit. So I think we can, if there is no alternate, if there is no alternate here, then we're pretty much done, right? Because the fiber alternate child, so that means that we need to process that child. But if there is no alternate, then we are done. I think, well, but it's quite redundant, right? Because we have this while loop, so you might not need this after all. Okay, I think we can get rid of it. And we also don't need these because there will be no way, so we don't need the element. So these branches are just because we don't know, so we need to differentiate between the cases when we need to do updates, placements and mutation, but since we don't have to do anything, we can get rid of them. So new fiber, we don't need to create a new fiber because it will be copied over. Okay, so what we need to do is so alternate will be alternate, props will be alternate.props, type will be alternate.type, get tag I think we can just simply copy things over. Parent will be fiber, yeah, that's true. fx none. Okay, and we need to modify this because we need to kind of traverse the tree the same way, but we don't have an index, so I don't know how to do that. So fiber dot child equals new fiber. That's quite right. Else we definitely don't need this because we don't have an element. So previous fiber, do we have a previous fiber? Yes, a previous fiber sibling will be new fiber. That's good. We don't need this. Previous fiber will be new fiber, and so previous fiber dude, I'm a bit lost. I think it definitely won't run if I just, index is not defined, so alternate. So we have the alternate, we're assigning it to everything. Let's assume that the previous fiber is only there if we're doing the sibling stuff. So we can kind of assume that if previous fiber is not there, we can use the child. Then we set the previous, but previous fiber is, and we can set the previous fiber will be the new fiber, and on the next iteration we will have previous fiber sibling. Okay, that I think that's world 2, but the problem is that the alternate not get updated, so we need to traverse the alternate. How did we do in the reconcile children? Alternate, if there is an alternate sibling, so we need to traverse the alternate sibling. If I just simply do alternate equals alternate dot sibling, well, it's not throwing an error, which is good, but I'd rather check the end of the array, so whatever. So let's just console log the fiber out. So we have a fiber, and this is the to-do component. So the to-do, so that's the main component, which should have a child of a div. Is it true? Yeah, div, and this div should have a child which is a to-dos, which is not the case, unfortunately. Such a shame. So we have to-do, it has a child of div, which has a child, oh no, it's right, I was just looking something not right. So yeah, it has a child of to-dos, and it should have a sibling of create to-do. Okay, so far so good. So okay, I think it's quite right. So the create to-do should have a child of a div, to-dos, sibling, create to do should have a child of a div with a style of display flex. Okay, and it should have a child of another div, yeah, and should have a child of an input, yep, and should have a child of nothing proper, yeah, nothing, but should have a sibling of a button. Okay, yeah, I think we kind of there. So that's a simplified reconcile children function. So this way we can keep the fiber structure alive for the next iteration if for some reason we decide that we want to get back to the should component update. Okay, so thanks for listening. That was just some kind of intervention. So next time I'm gonna clean this thing up and yeah, we can continue with the painting phases, lifecycle methods. Thanks for listening and see you next time.